Hello, hello, hello. We are on day 9 of the Road to Financial Freedom Challenge. Today, we are going to talk about how to set up a budget and what you need to do to see more money, to make more money, and to have more money in your life. This right here is the foundation that everyone needs when they're on a road to building financial freedom. And I want to say thank you to those of you who may be landing on this channel for the very first time. I want to say welcome. You have definitely come to the right place if you are looking for ways to manage your money, increase your money so that you can get the things that you want in life. Please take a moment to like, comment, and click that bell notification because I do load videos every day. And I want you to definitely be notified when they upload it so that you can get this good information because this is something that I've created to help more of my subscribers to really set up and lay out a foundation to help you guys to now start the year off right, start the year with a plan and know what you need to do to become financially free. I know there may be a number of you who may already be in a good position, but I promise you, there is going to be something that I will discuss that you did not know. And I promise you, there may be some techniques and strategies that you may be able to implement to improve even more of what you're doing. So without further ado, let's get into this subject. So I want to talk to you about budgeting. And when it comes to budgeting, so many people kind of run away from it, especially those who are really having a challenge with their finances. They run from it because sometimes they feel that a budget is going to be too restrictive and that it's going to keep them from doing the things that really have not been productive in their life. However, but we are going to debunk that and we are going to show you, I'm going to show you what you need to do to really take the first step in creating a budget. And I'm actually going to make this process fun. So why does budgeting matters? Okay. Budgeting is like the foundation to your money. If you don't know where your money is going, how can you say you need more money, you want more money, but you don't know where it's going? So one of the things I want to talk to you about when it comes to a budget is having financial stability. It makes you stable. If you know right now you're just working feel like you're working to pay bills, you don't have any extra money, you don't have stability in your life. What about reducing debt? If you have a budget, it's going to tell you what's coming in, what's going out, what do you have left over. It's also going to tell you who do you owe and how much do you owe. It's going to give you a full overview of your finances. Most people nowadays know they have debt, but they don't even know how much they owe. Most people know they have bills, but they don't even know what they're paying out each month. All they know is when they get their check, they got to send it back out. But with a budget, it's going to help you to identify those areas. It's also going to help you to save. And the reason why I say it's going to help you to save, because once you determine what you have left over, then guess what? That's what you can save. And I know some people say, well, you don't want to save what you got left over. Well, if you know you are overextended and all you have is enough to pay your bills, you're not really in a position to save. But what we talked about over the last 2 days, day 8 and day 7, is how you can save, how you can find more money. So if you have not watched those videos, please go back, watch those videos so that you can see that there is options for you. Then security. For those of you who've ever had an emergency and you didn't have any money and you didn't have anyone that you can borrow from, how did that make you feel? And that's a real question. I want you to comment. How did that make you feel? Because now you felt like you were on an island all by yourself and no one was there to help you. Having a budget will give you some sense of security. And I know for those of you who may be struggling in this area and thinking, well, the most I may be able to save is $25. Well, guess what? It's a start. It's best to start with something than to start with nothing. And a lot of people have nothing to start with. So if you only have $25, then guess what? That's where you start. And as you go on this process and you start budgeting and you start watching your budget on a monthly basis, you start reconciling your bank statements on a monthly basis, you start watching your expenses on a monthly basis, guess what? That number can increase. Let's talk about how can you get started. So when it comes to getting started with a budget, you want to first gather all of your expenses or just make a list if you have to. Make a list of every one you pay. I'm talking about if you have rent, if you have mortgage, your car notes, student loans, credit cards, your monthly recurring expenses. You want to list everything. And once you list everything, this is going to allow you to now make a budget. You need to determine who you owe, how much you owe, and what's your monthly payment. Because this information is what you're going to need to transfer to your budget spreadsheet. And when you transfer this information to your budget spreadsheet, it's going to do all the calculations for you so you can get a full overview of your finances. You want to also define your goal. So if your goal for this year is to become debt-free, well, how much do you owe? If you divide that by 12 months, how much would you need to meet that goal? If your goal is, I want to just save at least $1,000, okay, what is your goal? Based on that goal, now having this budget in place is going to tell you how much you can comfortably save on a monthly basis. I want to talk about a budget type that I think is really, really cool. Now, it may be a struggle for a lot of people. However, you have to adjust it based on what you have to work with. But I just want to give you a starting point of something that you can start with. And this is the 50-30-20 rule. So with the 50-30-20 rule, it's basically a budget method that suggests dividing your after income into three categories. 50% of your income will need to go towards your needs. Your needs are your rent, your mortgage, your car insurance, your groceries, your utilities. Those are the things that you need to live. And then 30% in this case is going to go for savings. And then we're going to take 20% and we're going to use it for investing. And I'm talking about investments, I'm talking about saving, I'm talking about everything you need to try to start building wealth. So when we're talking about your 50%, okay, we're talking about what is deposited into your bank account every single month. This is after your employer has taken out taxes, what is left? Based on what's left, okay, that is going to be your entire household income. Now, if you have other expenses, like maybe some SSI, you may have a side job, you may have a side business, whatever other income you may have, you're going to take all of that income and split it in half. And whatever that 50% number is, that is what is used to go toward your expenses. Now, on your budget spreadsheet, based on that 50% number, let's just say, for example, your 50% number is $1,800. So you bring home $3,600 total per month. Half of that is $1,800 per month. So if you have $1,800, which is 50% of your income, and you now look at your budget and you add up your car, your rent, your recurring expenses, all of those expenses, but they come to $2,200 per month. That means you don't have enough. You're overextended in that area. But if you've gone over the exercise on how to cut your expenses and how to see if you can now cut your costs, then you should be able to bring those numbers down. You need to identify what in your budget that you can eliminate that's going to help you to really work this process and work it correctly. Because you don't want to have to pull money from your savings area. You don't want to have to pull money from your wants area. You want to be able to really keep your income or your expenses to 50% of your bring home. Okay. So also too, this area is all your non-negotiables. So let's say, for example, your rent. Your rent is non-negotiable. Your mortgage, that's non-negotiable. Okay. You have to pay that. But if you have like Spotify or you have like Apple Store, whatever the case may be, because I don't have an Apple phone, I'm an Android, but whatever that may be, those are not non-negotiable. You can get rid of those. Okay. So you got to make sure you go through your budget and analyze what are your non-negotiables and make sure you get all your non-negotiables to 50%. Let's talk about your savings and your debt repayment. Now, I know the industry has the 30% as the area for your wants. I flipped it, okay? Because if you're struggling financially, you should not be spending 30% of your income on your wants, okay? You should want to go somewhere and have a seat and do better when it comes to your finances. When you increase your finances and you're able to get on a consistent regimen with savings and paying your bills, then you can flip it back and maybe do 20% for your savings and maybe 30% towards your wants. But for this exercise, I flipped it because you need to save more and you need to get rid of your debt. So with this 30%, based on that 30% of your income, then how much money is that based on what you bring home? And based on that number, then you need to dedicate that for creating your emergency fund. You want to use that for major purchases. If you know you're in the market that at the end of your lease, you want to buy a home, okay, you need to start saving for that. If you know right now you want to start a business maybe in the next 2 or 3 months, how much the expense is going to come from that. So you want to start saving for that. If you know vacation's coming up and you want to plan a family trip and you know that family trip is going to cost X number of dollars, again, this is what your savings and your debt repayment plan is for. And then, of course, based on those numbers that you're dedicating towards savings, then I would say, take 15% of it really, of that amount, because it's 30%. I would do 15% for savings and 15% toward debt repayment. And then that 15% that's dedicated toward debt repayment, that's what you're going to use toward your debt repayment schedule, however you have that set up. And we will be talking more about that as we go further along in this financial freedom challenge. And then investments. If you know right now you're not in a position to really invest, your only investment is going to be your savings. Okay. Your goal is get the savings up. Once you get your savings up to a desired number, especially based on what you have coming up, then you can start investing in other things. And then, of course, you want to definitely work on reducing your debt. Let's talk about your wants. This part is for those of you who say, I work to pay bills, I don't really get to enjoy any of my money. This is what this area is for, okay? This is for your discretionary. This means you can go and buy anything that's non-essential. And when it comes to your non-essential, we're talking about eating out, we're talking about entertainment, all those things that you want to do that make you feel good, okay? So again, when you're setting up this budget is going to help you to identify all those areas. So you're taking care of your essentials, your non-essentials, and you are saving and paying off debt. So what is the importance of truly budgeting, okay? Again, we talked about financial stability. You want to be able to have stability in your life. You want to be able to control your finances. You do not want to feel like all you do is work to pay bills. You want to feel like when I get paid, I'm able to pay my bills, I'm able to save and invest, and I'm able to go and have a really good time with me, my friends, my family, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to plan with your income, like we talked about. We talked about planning for buying a home, starting a business, taking a vacation. You want to be able to do that, okay? That makes you feel good. And then when you're planning for your financial stability, it eliminates stress. Right now, if you know you are really living paycheck to paycheck and you're always stressed out, then guess what? Being able to have a budget and establish this financial stability, this is what's going to help you to feel more encouraged and motivated. Also, having a budget is going to help you to reduce debt, because if you can start your budget and stick to your budget, okay, that 50-30-20 rule, everybody stays in their lane, then this is going to help you to reduce your debt, because now you're being able to allocate funds towards certain areas of your life. It's going to also help you to get to financial freedom a lot faster. You're on the road to financial freedom. This is a part of it. Road to financial freedom is not just about how much money I can make, how much money I can get, the best life I can have. No, the road to financial freedom is about getting this debt paid off. Because if you have debt, you really don't have a whole lot of money. You want to reduce the burden. If you know right now you have a lot of credit card debt, and this is where I see this a lot. If you have credit card debt, and let's say you've been paying your bill late, guess what? Your lenders have more than likely increased your interest rate. And if your interest rate has increased, your monthly payment is increased. So if you can get rid of those high interest payments, now that can also help you to reduce your monthly payments and to reduce your debt. You want to start saving for future goals. We talked about the different goals you want to save for. Right now, if you feel like you've been working for the last 2 years, 3 years, maybe even longer, and you just have never been able to really save, again, this is going to be game changing for you, because saving is so crucial. Because when life happens, not if, when life happens, are you going to be ready? Will you have something you can pull from? And when you do, it is going to make a world of difference. It's going to give you so much peace to know, because you planned, okay, before you needed it, you planned, now it's going to just make a world of difference. Let's talk about smart spending, okay? We talked about being able to categorize. We talked about the three areas: your wants, your needs, and your savings. As long as we can keep everything categorized in those three areas, that is what's going to help you to stay focused and on your budget. Even when you're out spending money, I want to say this. I would say for your wants area, whatever that amount is of your income, to help you to stay on track and not to tap into your savings or tap into your non-negotiable income, then I would say pull the money out as cash for now, okay? And you can now watch how you spend, because when you see your cash is dwindling down, now you understand, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to stop doing these certain things, because now I see my money is going. But when you've been using that debit card has allowed you to just swipe. And if you were swiping and you spent money from your non-negotiable area, again, it is what it is. Again, this is why I'm going to ask that take the money out of your bank account and just keep it on you as cash and spend from that, so that it can also help you to now stay on budget. And then, of course, having a budget is going to help you to prepare for emergencies. You never know what's going to happen. You could go outside and run over a nail, and now on the right side of your vehicle, you have two flat tires. And I don't know about you, tires nowadays are expensive. And if you have the money set aside where you can now be prepared and take care of those two tires, again, it is going to be an amazing feeling. Yeah, you had to tap into your savings. Yes, now your savings been reduced, but guess what? You had the money. And then it also, It's just, you never know what's going to happen. Okay. Like I said, you driving down the freeway and you run over some nails, and now these nails punctured your tires. You didn't plan for that. You didn't know that was going to happen. That is called an unforeseen incident. And when you are in position, it is going to help you to always be prepared. And again, that is a very good feeling. Financial freedom, guys, I tell you, it's just so empowering to know that when you are financially free, and when I say financially free, it's not about, oh, you're having millions of dollars in your bank account, but what would it feel like to know when you get paid, you're able to pay your bills, you're able to save some money, and you're able to give yourself something or pay yourself and go and do the thing that you want to do. You probably can't even fathom that because you have been in the struggle for so long. But when it comes to establishing financial freedom, this is what it's going to offer you. Okay. The ability to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of, and you get to also enjoy yourself. You want to make sure that you have realistic and obtainable goals, okay, that is only made possible when you are consistent with your budget. When you're consistent with your budget is going to be consistent with you. So let's talk about creating this budget. So when it comes to creating a budget, like I said, you got to make a list of all of your expenses, how much you owe, and what are your monthly payments. Because this is information that you're going to need to transfer over to your budget spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to put the link to the community in the description area. You can go to the community and download the budget. I'm going to put it in the files area. You go over there, get that budget spreadsheet, transfer all your information to the budget. And I promise you, when you see this budget, it is going to just blow your mind. Again, you're going to categorize all of your areas, but the way I have the budget broken down, I have it broken down to where all of your monthly expenses, like your rent, your car notes, all your installments, then we have your recurring expenses, you have your personal expenses, and then you have your savings and investment expenses. So again, this budget is amazing, and I love the way that I created it to help you to break everything down. Of course, your variables are going to fall under your non-negotiables. Your fixed is going to fall up under your savings and investments. And then your discretionary is going to fall under your negotiable items. And then tracking your expenses, okay? This is the number one way that you can make sure that you are getting the results that you desire. And that is, you're going to, one, you can manually write everything down. But again, that's what the budget spreadsheet is for. So you've already done that part. When you're putting together your budget spreadsheet and you're putting all these numbers together, you're putting all your expenses in one place, okay? This is going to help you to track everything that you do. And at the end of each month, it's your responsibility to go back and look at everything. Did you stay on budget? Did you stay in line with what you said you need to do under your 50-30-20 rule? And then at the end of each month, you want to do your reconciliation. And when I say reconciliation, you're going to look at your bank statement. Did you stay in line with your budget spreadsheet? You got to understand, you have got to watch your money. It's not enough now that all you do or may have done was spend the money. You have to watch your money, because if you're watching your money, you're creating your spreadsheet, you're creating your budget, and you're reconciling at the end of each month. There is no way possible you can lose. You have to stay focused and you have to stay committed to this process. Same thing with your credit card statements. Most people do not even look at their credit card statements. All they know is, this is what I have to pay, or the bank is telling me I have to pay each month. But no, I want you to look at your credit card statement. However, if you are on the road to financial freedom, I would say go either freeze your credit cards or cut them up. I didn't say close them. I say either freeze them or cut them up. And when I say cut them up, I'm simply asking you to not have access to use them until you are able to get yourself in a positive status when it comes to your budget, when it comes to your monthly expenses, when it comes to your spending, and when it comes to your savings. Because a lot of times we use credit cards as a crutch. And because we use credit cards as a crutch, we don't realize how we're able to make it. We're able to make it because we live on the credit cards. And when we live on the credit cards tend to be way more than we make way more than we bring in. And that's how we now become overextended. So I want to make sure at the end of each month, you are tracking your expenses and you're watching all your statements, your bank statement, your credit card statements, and your budget. You're comparing all of them to make sure you are staying on track. Adjusting and reviewing. So when it comes to adjusting, okay, when you do your monthly assessment, how did you do on your 50%? Did you stay within line? Did your 50% now go down to 45%? Because you've now paid off some expenses. Now you're not spending 50% of your revenue, your income. You're now spending down to 45%. If you have or get to that point, you could always reallocate that money to now savings and investing. And when I say savings and investing, really, you're now putting a little bit more in savings and take 50% and put the other half toward paying off debt. Then again, that's part of you modifying, okay, where needed. And then you're going to identify challenges because now let's just say now your expenses went up and now you're at 55%. Again, where do you have to make the adjustments? Or did something come up? You didn't have enough money for it. And now you had to maybe go tap into a credit card because you probably wouldn't call that credit card company back and say, okay, send me my card. Again, this is how you have to identify the challenges. And even with your 20%, then did you extend yourself? Did you now go and spend 30% on your wants and you didn't spend the whole 30% on savings and investing? These are the things you have to pay attention to because if you keep tapping into areas where you should not be, then this is why you're going to have those challenges. But you have to identify those challenges and understand what went wrong because this is how you're going to literally check yourself. And when you check yourself, this is how you can help yourself. Then you have to make sure you're not underestimating your expenses. For example, if you know right now that your non-negotiables is $2,000 a month, you done cut everything that needs to be cut. You can't cut anything else. So that means you're going to have to move money from another one of those other areas. I would say, okay, if you can, I would say take from your wants area. It does not hurt you. It will not hurt you if you can't eat out for the month. Okay, go grocery shopping. You want to spend more time with yourself anyway. You want to focus on financial freedom. You want to focus on how to get out of debt. You want to focus on how to make more money. You shouldn't be focused and consumed on going out with friends, happy hour, maybe getting your nails and feet done. Take a break from that. This is going to really determine how bad do you want it. Because if you really want it, you're going to do what you need to do to make it happen. So that means if you underestimated what it's going to cost, then you may have to pull from another area until you can do something differently. And then you cannot continue to ignore irregular expenses. For example, if you know you've got a group of friends and they like to go to happy hour every Friday, and your budget for your wants is $150, and you go out with them every week and you're spending an average of $75. Well, that means in 2 weeks, you already went through your budget. So in the next 2 weeks of the month, you pulling from another area, that's you ignoring irregular expenses. That's irregular, but it's also you sabotaging yourself when you know you need to tell those friends, I can't go with you right now. I have to stay home. I have to really manage my finances. I don't know what the deal is where people don't want to tell people I'm on a budget. I don't get that. At the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road and the bottom falls out, you cannot go to those people and tell those people, oh, I need some money. Because you're gonna go run and hide your tail and they're not gonna see you. But it is up to you to be big enough, you're an adult, okay? It's up to you to go and do what you have to do and tell them, you know what, I can't go. And if you are gonna go, okay, you're not gonna be spending $75 a week. If you know the most I can spend is $25, then guess what? You leave the rest of your money at home and all you bring with you is $25. I would just say, you're out at happy hour, people go out and drink. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But if that's what you're doing, drink slow. Or do like I do. When I used to be out in the world and go out, I used to get free water. I'm just being honest. Everybody around me is drinking. I don't drink. I ain't have a problem telling them I will drink some free water. I'm okay with that. And if I really wanted to be special, I'd get me some pineapple juice. But other than that, I didn't have a problem with it. So I'm telling you, don't have a problem with it. Because at the end of the day, it is your life and it's your future. I'm not saying you can't have a good time, but you have got to do it with some discipline. Because if not, you are only going to hurt yourself. If everybody else don't want to get their life together, do not let them stop you from getting yours. And then again, this is about adjusting your lifestyle. Like I just said, if you know they're out spending $75 a week, you can't spend $75. Your budget is only $25. That's the most you can spend. Again, this is your life. Do what you got to do to make it work. So when it comes to financial freedom, guys, I'm telling you, it starts with your money. If you are not doing what you have to do to make the adjustments when it comes to your finances, this is going to be on you. It is not going to take long. It really isn't. But you have got to make the sacrifice. And when you make this sacrifice, this is what's going to help you to change your life and become financially free. Because if you can buckle down and say for 90 days or maybe even 180 days, I am not going to be spending money. I'm going to watch my budget. I'm going to do all I can to reduce my expenses. I'm going to do all I can to save and get myself in position so that I can do some things and live my very best life. Then that's what you need to do. And if you got people around you that don't understand that, then guess what? They're not your friends. Because anybody who's on a mission to do better and have better, you should have people around you that are going to support you, and most of all, people that are going to push you. Because if you are surrounded with a bunch of people who all they want to do is pacify you and help you to stay where they are, they're not your friends. I am here to help you. I hope you are ready for this because I promise you it's not going to take you long. And if you do what you have to do, you are going to win, hands down.